we just jumped right into it. I don't even know what I'm supposed to say. Okay. So this is a little much, putting a lot of pressure on me right now.
Oh, I can hop in on here and say a lot.
You put the black one on the black one.
That's got to be racist.
Okay, well, it happens to the best of them.
There we go. There's the one in there. Wait, I definitely put this on the back. No, I didn't. Okay, freaking him.
So trying to find the ever loose.
Oh, well,
How many people does it take to jump the battery off?
Just one if it's the right person, and that ain't me.
Okay, there's one. Down! Alright, so recap of the last event that we did in Lanier. Vlad, my teammate, I'm gonna plug his Instagram here. Me and him, we're tandeming, you know, doing hot boy stuff. I might have over-rotated a little bit, that's what everybody else said. I might over-rotate a little bit. He hit me.
Don't let anybody ruin your day. Ruin it yourself. Be a man.
So he got the brunt of the damage. He got a little bit of a headlight thing, and his bumper cover came off, and you know, some other stuff. The only damage that I got, if you follow me over here, is he just hit my wheel. That's really all it did. Knocked out of alignment a little bit. Tyler did a little trackside fix, re-towed me back in. I was good to go. However, the one thing that I did not account for was riding the barrier a little bit. Riding the barrier a little bit. No need to fear though, because it'll buff. All right, it'll buff. Okay, so after every event, Tyler is our dedicated crew chief, right? So after every event, well, during the event, Tyler does absolutely everything. It's really nice. Me and Vlad literally just drive. We'll pull up to the pits, still in helmet and everything. Tyler will come over, fix whatever, swap whatever, throw us back out. We're back on the road. And then when we get back, he does post-inspection checks. And with us having Smokies coming up and it's a big event, he's doing a post-event inspection on my car, which I already know some of the stuff that we need to fix. Driving a little too hard. But I do know we got to fix a couple things on here. He's got to fix a couple things on Vlad. I don't think Vlad's driving this one, but we're going to fix mine because I am. So one of those things is definitely going to be the angle kit. Getting a bigger one, because that's the reason why I over-rotated. We'll go with that.
Both of the drift cars in, Vlad's car, Ryan's car. We're going to look them over, see if anything happened at the event, if we need to really fix anything. Ryan's making a little bit of love to Vlad's car real quick. And then I'm going to make some love to Ryan's car real quick.
That's fucking pretty. Brake switch, cylinder 3, 5 codes.
So,
why are you drinking coffee at noon?
Yo, I'm 30. Leave me alone, all right?
Old as dirt.
Yeah. Explain these codes. What all this means, very concisely, is Ryan needs to put an LS in the car. But not my LS. Not my LS. We got a couple of key issues, which really just means that the previous owner deleted nats on the car. Got a brake switch issue. We'll look into that. Not really a big issue. Evaporative emission control system, again, not really an issue, but we'll look into it. The biggest one is the cylinder 3 misfire, that PO303. Coming back, Ryan had a lot of fuel smell in the car, and it was running like a Subaru, so we'll look into that. It's probably a bad coil pack, but we'll figure it out, get it squared away.
My name is Tyler Wayne from Ultimate Motorsports and Racing. I'm here today to diagnose Ryan Wright's car. So you have 57 codes that we found here.
Just uploading the new map.
Yep, 57 codes. Alright, so the biggest question of all time, is drifting expensive? And the short answer is abso-fucking-lutely. The long answer is kind of. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a stance shop version of a high-low car, like Donut Media. If you want to drift, literally at the bare necessity, like minimum you need, is a rear-wheel drive car. I've even seen dudes out there ripping it auto. Don't recommend, but it can be done. But bare necessity is rear-wheel drive. Second step up from that, 5 or 6 speed manual. Outside of that, the more you progress, the more you're gonna want the supporting mods. And unlike stance, some of these supporting mods actually make a difference. Like in a stance car, poly bushings and wider angle kit don't really like affect you at all. They don't help you. But in drifting, something as simple as a diff brace or something as simple as a poly bushing can completely change your style of driving or how your car behaves just by how you're driving it. The perfect starter cars in drifting. Okay, Z, obviously. To me is number 1. To anybody else, I don't know. But Z is definitely a great starter car for drifting. G, same chassis basically, but the same thing. Miata, E36, E46. You can get into the style points. So some of these guys are like drifting these random cars, like Volvos and stuff like that. Although that is super cool, the problem that you run into is parts, right? When you drift, you need an unlimited supply of parts and being able to find stuff. How many Z's do you see on the road? A lot. How many Miatas do you see on the road? A lot. Those are the cars people want to drive because they're easy to find parts for. So if you haven't seen it already, you can peep the Instagram, Carolina Stance Shop. We did a little reel of us rebuilding these wheels for our customer that is now here to come pick them up. But just a fresh, they got polished. They were black, I think, and blue. So stripped them all, had them polished, put them back together, sealed them. So videos on Instagram, go check it out.
I like that, man.
What's wrong with it now?
There's nothing wrong with it. Everything's perfect.
Perfect?
Perfect.
Perfect.
Just needs 2 more cylinders.
Okay.
Well, the car runs. It ran before, but it runs better now. It was a popped coil pack, which is what we expected, thoroughly anticipated. So we're gonna go test drive it here in a little bit, see what it does. We'll do some fucking skids, see if it does skids. So let's go over what we have done to this car, and then Tyler will explain some of the stuff in a more mechanical form. The first thing we bought this car, we bought it from a TikToker dude. It had a blown trans. The motor was put in kind of janky. As we went through everything, make sure everything was plugged in. There was a lot of stuff that was not plugged in, hoses, you know, whatever. We did a CD09 swap in it, needed it. After that, we did every bushing you could think of in poly. Very, very important when it comes to drifting. But not so much in the beginning, like if you're learning. I had some prior experience, so I wanted to go ahead and just get it all done in one shot. If you have the money, definitely recommend doing all of this that I'm about to name up front before you go out. And then we did brand new front control arms, GK Tick angle kit. The control arms we actually just got off Rock Auto for like $200, just some OEM control arms. The GK Tech mini kit I think was like $250. It adds a little bit of angle. It's much better than stock. These have terrible angle, if any of y'all have ever driven one. After that, we did Silver's coilovers. Those were about $1,200. Really like Silver's, they're good. Having some kind of coilover set up on the car is also very important. Kind of lowers your center of gravity, stiffens up the suspension. That way you don't have as much body roll when you drift, and body roll can be, it can be good, it can be bad when you're drifting depending on your style. For me, it's not good because I'm kind of an aggressive driver, so I need it to kind of be predictable. Welded diff, that was a huge one. That was like about $150. It depends on who you get to do it though. That's not, it depends on your area, who does it, whatever. But it was about $150. It makes you do skids. Tyler can kind of jump in and give you the more mechanical
It locks
version.
both wheels together, spinning at the same rate, even if you break traction, so it makes it easier to drift.
That part. So that's what that does. If you've never driven a welded diff car, it sucks. Because if you think about it, when you're driving normally with your wheels turning at opposite times, when you turn, it's just a solid turn both ways. When you're running together, if you're turning, they're pushing so hard they skip when you're driving. So you literally hear it when you're driving. Like if you're turning in a park line, it's like So if you ever hear a car like that, that's what it is. It's got a welded diff.
That explanation was horrible.
That's what you're here for. You're here to do the better explanation.
The reason why a welded diff sucks to drive on is because your inside wheel, when you turn, spins slower than your outside wheel. That's why an open differential or limited slip is okay to drive on. The welded diff, they spin at the same rate when you're turning, so it breaks traction and chirps all over the place.
This is very much not a needed thing to do when you're first started drifting. It's actually recommended to not do it when you're first started drifting. Is a hydro e-brake. You can use your stock e-brake. A lot of guys do use it. It does well, but it's better to run a hydro when you get to that point, because the hydro is actually a standalone master on itself with 2 lines that just go straight to those secondary calipers in the back. It comes with a bracket from GK Tech and everything. I think the whole setup was like like $400 or $500 with the brackets and lines, factoring in 2 new calipers. A lot of times that's good for like when you're a chase car, or if you're coming in too hot on something, whether it be a turn or another car. You can hydro real quick, bring down some speed, and then reback, clutch kick, and initiate, and you'll be able to actually stay close to somebody without having to keep left foot braking or stuff like that. Other like mechanical mod that this thing has, a Z1 clutch and a Z1 lightweight flywheel too. That's also not super necessary, but in terms of like driving wise, it actually kind of is, because you're constantly clutch kicking, especially when you start off without a hydro. You want to learn clutch kicking a lot, and clutch kicking is very hard on a clutch, so you want to try to get something that's going to be able to hold up to that. Your stock clutch will work for a while, but once it goes out, obviously you don't want to put the same thing back in. You want to upgrade to something better, which is what we did. And the absolute most important thing to drifting, some people will disagree with this. I don't disagree with it, or I disagree with that. When you're drifting your car, you're never going to get good if you don't push your limits, like drive outside of your ability in a sense. Drive outside of your ability in a sense. And when you drive a nice car that you care about, or B, your daily, you're not going to have that feeling in you to drive outside of your ability, and that's going to include hitting barriers. That's going to include touching other cars, tapping other cars. That's how you get better. So I do not recommend driving a car that you A, care about, or B, daily, because if you're doing it and you want to get better at it, you'll never get better at it without just going into it. I mean, literally, like you saw at the beginning of this video, me and Vlad hit each other. Vlad's got a little bit more experience than I do in driving. Like I said, it happens. And even like me hitting a barrier, I was on a solo run when I tapped a barrier.
Tapped.
Whether I tapped it or I dragged it or absolutely obliterated it doesn't really fucking matter. The point is, you want to go out there, you want to have fun, and doing it, like I said, with the high-low thing, you can go out there with a $2,000 shit box, have the time of your life. This car makes like $260, we'll say. When you're out there sliding this car and you're going 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, looking out your passenger window, you feel like you have 600. You're just driving fast, you're having fun, you're not driving straight. So you'll feel a difference driving in a 260 versus a 400 horsepower car. But if you don't know any better, you're just having a blast out there. Probably the biggest thing that's the most important is definitely a fire extinguisher. Like I said, when you're street driving, you don't really care about that. But it doesn't matter who built the car or how it was done or how well it was built. Stuff inadvertently happens, parts do fail. So a hose could come undone, a hose could get cracked, a hose could get too much pressure from driving, how hard you drive, whatever. Stuff can happen. If you don't have a fire extinguisher on hand, I mean, you get lit up.
You're done.
You're done. You're cooked. So
an entry-level drift car doesn't really require that much, but there's definitely some required and highly suggested modifications to it. Your diff welded, make sure it's a good fabricator. You know, beads won't come loose and lock up your rear end. A good set of coilovers so that you don't have to deal with a lot of body roll and inconsistency. The factory clutch in the ZNG will work pretty well, but not long. The dual mass flywheel will give up and have a lot of play and introduce some issues. Aside from that, just get some tires, throw on a little bit of power mods if you want to. It's not really necessary. Other than that, you're good to go. But by far, Ryan touched on it before, the biggest thing to do is put a fire extinguisher on the car. I've seen a lot of well-built cars go up in flames, and out of nowhere you've got anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 just going like that. Fire extinguishers are under $20 at Walmart, and the mounts are $10. I mean, $30 for the insurance to not burn up your entire car. get a fire extinguisher.
Feels good. Doesn't misfire anymore. That's good. Hydro locks up good. No, it doesn't.
You gotta bleed that.
Gotta bleed that. That's weird. All right, the car is in good working order now. It drives. It does some skids. So we got a lot more prep to do before then. I still gotta get and install the FDF kit for bigger angle. Trying to get ready for slamming the Smokies. Low key, it's pretty close to being done. Besides that one thing, really, it drives fine. So definitely come check us out. It's July.
I'll put it.
We'll put
it's
it.
Right
It's right here.
Yeah.
We'll put it right here. So come check us out then. We'll be drifting with a bunch of other people. It'll be super fun. Then we'll have a booth the next day at the show with my Audi, the drift car, and one of these two Goons cars. So it'll be really fun. Definitely drop us a subscribe if you like the video, like, comment, whatever. Let us know what you want to see next. Probably the video next though is going to be either installing the FDF kit or this customer car that we got in the works. He's got a lot of parts here, right there, that we're going to be installing on it. I'll give you a hint. It's right-hand drive. So it's going to be a super dope build. He's actually in Korea right now, so he won't actually even see the car for another few months. But we're going to do a little pimp my ride type of thing and show him his car when it's done. So it's going to be pretty dope. Definitely check it out and let us know what you want to see next.